Hey guys, I'm John Setzler and welcome back to Atlanta Grill Company. Today we're going to start a new project for 2022. We're going to have a rub of the month, and this month our rub of the month is going to be Atlanta Grill Company's Georgia butts and ribs, and we're going to do several cooks this month that highlight this rub and its greatness. It's really a great rub, and we're going to start this one off with a big pork butt. So let's get started. Okay, we're gonna get this started. I've got an 11.5 pound pork butt here in my Drip EZ Prep Tub, and we're gonna work this guy over today with this Georgia butts and ribs. And what I like to do typically is just flip this guy over to the fat cap side and start hitting it back here. I want to get a nice even coat. I want to get a nice even coat of this Georgia butts and ribs on all sides of this. So I'm just going to hit the fat cap side and kind of pat that in, and then I'm going to spin this guy around, and we're going to get the entire butt completely coated on all sides. And then when I get a nice liberal coat of that on here, I'm just going to let this sit here for a few minutes, because as you guys know, I recommend doing this early, and I am probably about 8 hours away from starting my cook. I'm just going to let this sit on here probably for about 10 minutes or so to start to let that adhere, and then we'll be back. So I've taken that back out of my tub and put it on a rack. I dumped the leftover rub from our tub right back onto the top of this butt, and we're going to put this in the refrigerator and let it sit. You can let that go for any amount of time you want, up to 12 to 24 hours. I've been wrapping these things up in plastic and doing this, but I think it's going to be just fine unwrapped. So my pork butt's been in the refrigerator all day. It's about 8 p.m. local time. I've lit a fire up in the firebox here on my Classic 3, and I've put some cherry wood chunks in there to get some smoke going. So I'm going to set the grill grates in place and finish getting the SLoROLLER together. And then we're going to use the Fireboard Pro today to run this grill. So I'm going to set up the Fireboard here to run the grill at about 220 degrees or so. And I'm going to give it an hour or so to preheat and get ready before we come back out here and put that butt on. Okay, our grill's up to temp. It's about 8:30. I'm a half an hour in here. I've got a nice light smoke rolling there. So we're going to take this big 11.5 pound butt, set it right on the middle of the grill there, and I'm going to insert my temperature probe into this grill. The bone is here, and what I'm going to do is take my probe and push it in there just at an angle until I hit that bone, and then I'm going to pull it back about 1/8 of an inch. That's a perfect position for this temperature probe here for this butt. And then we're going to close this guy up, and we're going to let it ride overnight. We probably won't be back to look at that for another 10 or 11 hours at least. Okay folks, we've been going 12 hours, and I'm pretty happy with how the bark looks on this guy. So we're ready to move on to the next stage of the cook. I'm going to take this off, I'm going to wrap it, and then we'll be right back. Alrighty, so I've got a nice tight double wrap on the foil there, and I'm going to take my temperature probe, come right back in the top to where I was, or close to where I was before, and we're going to let this guy continue to cook. I'm also going to ramp the temp up in the grill to about 300 degrees at this point. We're about 2.5 hours past our 12-hour mark where we wrap this guy, and I believe we're about ready to go. I'm going to pull that probe out of there, and I'm going to fold this foil back Oh yeah. I know that's kind of hard to see in there, but I'm going to check here for tenderness. I think that's going to be beautiful. Oh yeah, we're probing absolutely tender. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put the foil back over this guy. I'm going to take it off the grill and we're going to put it in the cooler and let it rest for a couple hours. So I'm going to pick that foil up as gently as I can and see if I can get that down in this cooler without upsetting it too much. And then what I like to do, I have preheated my cooler with a little bit of hot water just so it won't leach out all the heat from this guy. And then I'm going to take a towel, fold it up over the top of that, latch the cooler back down, and I like to give it a minimum of 2 hours in here, but this one's probably going to get 3. Okay, I've let this pork butt rest for right at about 3 hours, so we're going to get the foil off of this thing, and first thing I want to do is yank that bone out of there. Look at that. That's beautiful. One little piece still hanging on there. I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm just going to dump this meat into my Drip EZ Prep Tub here. This is the same tub I used to prep this butt, and I'm going to use it once again to pull this guy apart. And as you can see, this thing, man, it's just dying to fall apart. It's really a perfect cook. Let me, here's what we want to talk about today is this bark. There's a nice piece of that bark. So let's just have a pitmaster's taste of that. Guys, that's amazing. That Georgia Butts and Ribs pork rub from Atlanta Grill Company makes an amazing, just a simply amazing flavor on this butt. I should have showed you the smoke ring here. You can see some of these pieces. I don't know how well that's showing up on camera out here. Here's one. Got a nice smoke ring on this butt. So that's thanks to the Kamado Joe, but you know, I'm just going to pull this all apart. I like to just pull mine by hand, and I package most of this up with a vacuum sealer and save it and eat it in individual servings. So I like to get that bark pulled apart where I can get some of that bark in every serving also, but you can just see how that wants to pull apart. My glasses are fogging up just standing here. It's kind of cool outside today. So guys, give this a try. This Georgia Butts and Ribs. This is really a perfect rub for pulled pork barbecue and for ribs. Maybe we'll come back next week and do a rack of ribs. Until next time, this is John Setzler with Atlanta Grill Company.